Um, I actually like most girl groups. There are very few that I don't like. There are some who I just don't care for. I mean, like I don't their style doesn't appeal to me. But if even if their style, the music, the fashion, the way that they are packaged, even if it doesn't appeal to me, I still wish them well. But I do feel that in 2024, it was the year of the girl groups, meaning a lot of them, it was like many agencies and the industry itself, they were trying to push girl groups harder. Um, and I think it was because they knew that it was going to be harder for boy bands to actually penetrate the US or the Western market. So the only problem I felt was that there was too many of the same thing. One of the reasons 21 made such a huge splash when they were introduced to the market is because they were so different. Everyone was using the wholesome cute concept, and then here they were using the girl power kind of concept. Glamorous, powerful women. That's what they were when they were new. As we know, that style actually, it is the same concept of Blackpink. The main difference is that for Blackpink, they actually prioritize the looks more than the talent. And this came from Yang Yun Sok. For 21, he was so concerned about talent, and for Blackpink, he just wanted to someone pretty. That's essentially what happened. And so that's why they weren't really given a lot of control over their creatives. Now, because they kind of felt that it was working, they continued using it. So now other groups are following the same kind of concept. This is Baby Monsters. I do my favorite member is Ion actually. So I was when they were first when they first debuted, their first debut, they had two debuts. In their first debut, I wasn't really into them because Ion wasn't there and that she was my favorite member. But when she rejoined the group, then I started following them a little bit more. And it's the same thing for Mauve, which is being managed by the Black Label, which used to be under YG Entertainment. They still are owned by YG Entertainment, but I think they became a little bit more independent in their operations. In fact, the Black Label, which is headed by Teddy, moved out of the YG building, and I think it is because they want to become more independent. I am fully convinced that Teddy is probably going to buy out Yang Yun Sok. And this is IVE, so it's kind of the same concept. They want to be glamorous, they want it to be powerful. But the problem is that they're all starting to sound the same. So I hope that they get to find their own sound and they get to find their own niche. The other thing that happened in 2024 is that I felt like there were so many groups that are not getting promoted even though they deserve to be bigger by now. I had so much hope on Espa when they first launched because they were so talented. When Black Mamba actually came out, I felt like, oh, finally, like a glamorous group that has actual talent. And then I feel like SM Entertainment is not managing them correctly. They are already on their fourth year, and I was expecting that they'd be going on tours by now, like world tours, bigger venues like arena at the very least, and they haven't gotten to that level. And I don't know if, since I know a lot of people actually hate T Suman, but I feel like nobody is left in SM Entertainment that actually knows how to manage a group creatively. And yes, that is true, Bang Luna, that they are not really known for sustained success. Another one that they mismanaged is TVXQ, because even after the TVXQ actually divided into two groups, JYJ and TVXQ, when the two members, Changmin and Yuno, went on their own to continue being TVXU, they still became very, very successful. But they weren't able to sustain that success, and they weren't able to elevate TVXQ into global stardom, which I thought they were going to do. Because I thought with two members and two of the most talented members, I felt like it was enough for them to actually that's actually going to be easier for them to dominate globally. But SM wasn't able to do that. Red Velvet, I thought had a real chance at actually becoming bigger than they were, but for some reason they also weren't managed well. And the same thing now is for for ESPA. They have so much in this group. They have so much to give. The girls themselves, right? But they're not being managed correctly for some reason. ITZY is another one. They this is in my top five favorite group, girl groups of all time. But I feel so bad that they are not given the right attention, the right promotion. Imaginary Friend, I stand by what I said last week, that it is one of the best tracks ever released in South Korea. But for some reason they were thrown into this, not thrown, but they were asked to do like a world tour, but they weren't given enough promotion. So instead of becoming the next big thing, they are big. Obviously, they still are big, but they not to the level that I know they could have been if they were managed correctly. The other thing that happened in 2024 is that there are still very, very few female idols who actually had control over their own creatives, which is, and there were a lot more in among boy bands. For boy bands, there were a lot more members who had control over their own creatives, but with females, very, very few were actually writing. So you have Yunjin. Um, Many of Les Seraphim members are actually writing, participating in the writing of their songs. But Yunjin is the one that's actually, she produced one of the, like, she was the writer and she produced the track. So you know that she's being groomed towards that direction. And then you have Soyeon for G Idol, as I've mentioned before. I will mention it again. No one can hold a candle against them, but they're the biggest when it comes to having biggest. They're the biggest girl group that has creative control over their own discography and over their own evolution. Twice, my favorite girl group, actually started writing a lot of their tracks. I think in the third album, they're just not being given the title track and they're not being given the right recognition. So I think they should have been hyped more that they're actually participating in the writing of the songs. Many of the songs actually they wrote all by themselves. It's just that it was refined during the process of recording or whatever. But I hope in 2025 more girl group members will actually be given the chance to participate in the creative direction. Um, the other thing is, I don't know if you have noticed this, but in the last several months, the interest over several controversies are starting to wane. It's starting. Sorry, the interest is starting to wane. Um, Many things have happened in the last several weeks, and people are hardly paying attention to what Mama Roach is actually doing. Uh, like even what the five girls, like, they're just old shorts are doing. They're not commanding the same kind of attention they used to command, which is making me think that maybe people are not really concerned. It's just that it was entertainment at that moment. So it's tragic. It's going to be bad for old shorts because public interest has always been the strongest weapon of Mama Roach. The reason this thing became so big is because she was able to steer the interest of the public. But now that the interest of the public is waning and they're shifting to other things, and I think once BTS members start coming back, start doing their countdown, I think people are just going to lose interest in anything altogether and they will just concentrate on BTS. So I think this is going to be a major factor in how the cases are going to go. Once the public isn't looking anymore, then there will be less interest for judges and police people, police officers, and lawyers, and whoever to talk about this. And most likely, it's just going to be a normal case rather than a national case for South Korea. Um, and when once the interest of the public wanes, my guess is that Mama Roach, will also start losing interest to the five girls. Um, Bang Luna said, I think scandals are a national sport in South Korea. Naomi65, sorry for asking the stupid question. I have been dying to ask, why is she called Mama Roach? Someone just, we were looking for, okay, so one of the findings in the research is that stating somebody's name actually gives them brand power, whether it's negative or positive. Also, the algorithm is so designed that when you start mentioning a name or when you start showing interest on something, then the algorithm will continue pushing more content about that to you, because the algorithm is going to think that you're interested in that. And so when a lot of people are interested in something, they will continue pushing those content, and they are going to think that this is the hot thing of the moment. So one of the ways we're going around it is by not mentioning their names. So some, we were like thinking of a nickname that we can call them, and someone just came up with Mama Roach. I don't quite remember who actually came up with Mama Roach. Someone in Patreon actually suggested that we start calling her German Roach, because they said it's the worst of all roaches. Anyway, so that is the story. And then someone also said on Patreon that they saw someone else that is not a part of this group, uh who started, who just mentioned Mama Roach. So I don't know, but anyway, that's the story on why we're calling her Mama Roach, because we don't want to give the name brand power, and we definitely do not want the algorithm to think that she's popular or that she's powerful and that more people are interested in her. So um Naomi said that was enlightening, thank you. It fits her. Voldemort was too kind. Yeah, so initially I used Voldemort, and then the HP fans, Harry Potter's fans, just was not happy with me for using Voldemort. Because they said Voldemort is a legendary figure. But yeah, so the name Mama Roach fits her character, Jazzy J said. Look for the app BTS World Season 2. Oh yeah, for the app. So I think this is going to be a major thing, because the interest is starting to wane. I think she will also lose interest in the group, and the investors will lose interest, and that is going to make the difference. That will be the difference. That will be the deciding factor in this entire case, in the court and in public. So I want to see what's going to happen next, because whenever something new happens, someone, like, people are really not responding to it the same way they used to. I mean, even the paid publications like uh, all K-pop and Korea Boo, they're not posting as much anymore. So I was like, oh, this something just came up, and you're not posting. Like, Korea Boo would post like 20 articles about one thing. Now they're barely posting two. So I'm like, the interest is really waning. So I'm kind of curious what's going to happen. I do think that the key is if they find something new. They, meaning Korea. Once something new comes in, something that's more interesting, they're going to totally forget about this and just focus on the new thing. Now, the impeachment and the martial law took away from them, right? Because the entirety of Korea is just interested in politics now, and what's going to happen, whether he's going to be impeached or whatever. So he's already been impeached, by the way. They're just waiting for the constitutional court to confirm it. But yeah, I think that we will see what will happen. I think in the next 2 months will be instrumental, because I think in the next 2 months we're going to see a trend. Something will happen, maybe with the return of BTS, with the tour of Hobie, or the release of his new album. But something big is going to happen, and people are just going to talk about it. One hot shot, TLT said, and Fairlane has an awesome image that goes with the Mama Roach. Yes, there was an option that went with it. Yes. One hot Sean JK's live just reminded those girls what it means to have influence. 20 million, my God, 20 million. HHK, I do think the ads coming out over the next 2 to 3 months with baby roaches will keep them at the forefront until March. Maybe my guess is that those ads won't also, it will just be another thing. Like, people will now understand that the ads, the brand endorsements, those were arranged long before, and they're just coming out now. One of the members actually was released as a brand ambassador for a certain watch, right? Didn't make a lot of noise. Vogue Korea is going to push through with the cover. Not one's really talking about. I mean, there are some interests. It's just that it's not as big as it was before. So all K-pop, it's busy with Jin and our boys. um, Jazz said, I learned something new every time I listen to you, Miss Fair. Thank you. Okay. Sinri, so the Vogue cover and Omega were part of the Adore activities. They're making fans believe it's an independent activity. No, there was actually back in November, they were already talking about Vogue actually using them as a cover. So it's been a while. And usually, I mean, a magazine won't shoot their cover a month before it comes out. That's not how it works. It's months in advance. And when do they actually declare? They declared the termination of the agreement. So this was rearranged. It's been a while. Actually, there were rumors that Vogue wasn't actually going to push through with the cover, but they've already shot it, I guess. The same thing with Omega, the watch brand. This has been in the works for a while. So why will you not use it if you've already paid for it? The contracts have been signed and all of those things. Um, okay, so love Korean citizens with the light stick singing K-pop songs in the streets. So I think for 2025, I think the girl groups that we should all be that I think is going to make a huge headway globally will be Le Seraphim. That's one. Second would be I'll It. And then third will be Mauve, believe it or not. So I think those three. So Mauve, um, I'll It, Le Seraphim. Uh, I think I my heart goes to aespa because they're one of my favorites ever, and ITZY. But it's going to take a hell of a lot for them to actually go on to the next stop. But I think Mauve has the right foundation. The girls definitely, the girls can actually speak the language, the English language. They're well trained, and each of the members were actually professionals even before they joined the group. So I think those three are the groups to watch. XG, I do not consider. Yes, so XG is also one of my favorites. I don't consider it to be K-pop though, but I think they're going to make some headway. What's the last group? Mauve here. They're under um the black label. This, do you know them? This is my favorite. Ella. Ella Gross is her name. Can you spell the name? Can you spell their names or show us? I'm hearing Mo. Wait, I can show you here. There. So it's like meow because that's how they actually pronounce it. Meow, meow. Like cats. The sound of a cat. Is the group that looks like meow, right? Yes. That's how they pronounce it. Meow. But it's two V's, not W in the end. The main song is Into the World. Fire was used by some protesters only. At first glance, I thought it was meow. Yeah, they did that intentionally. And that is how they pronounce it in their songs. It's meow, but this is two V's. They're produced by Teddy, which is a producer of Blackpink. So Ella, there. Ella is actually a professional model, and she has been under YG for such a long time. Is so it's double V at the end. Correct. It's double V at the end, not not W. Le Seraphim and Isle It prediction is that they will have good things happen to them in 2025, which also includes G Friend. I think Le Seraphim will be the one that will make a huge headway to the West in 2025. And I think the plan is already laid out. It's just a matter of announcing it. Um, uh, I'll it will be a surprise success primarily because no one is going to expect that a group with with that kind of a concept, because a lot of people don't understand their concept, will actually will gain the attention of the West. But I do think that they will appeal to gamers and cosplayers because their lore is very much in there. So young people that are into the metaverse and gaming, um, comics, online gaming, that will be attracted to. And that's a huge market. That's actually even bigger than the music industry market. So I think that's the strategy for Bang Shiyok. Bell Tricks, nope, gamer here, not interested. You're not interested in Alit. Who do you like? G Friends sold out 2 days. So Source added another day. It should be a week. 50,000 went for the tickets, but few got them. I like Espa as well. Yeah, but I think it's really going to take. I like Espa, by the way. It's just I think it's going to really take another manage, or just a big change in management for them to actually get to where they should be. They should be bigger by now. Espa should be bigger by now. It's just that they are not getting the right management. And this time, I know a lot of people are going to say that. Why do you always blame the management? Maybe the group simply doesn't have what it takes. But with Espa, they have what it takes. They have what it takes. They're just not getting the right push for the Korean market. They are Korea big. They are very big. A lot of the groups of SM Entertainment are actually bigger in Korea, but not much in the international market. But Espa is that one group that has what it takes to get into the Western market. I will stand by that. But they do need to either have a change in the way that they're getting promoted. They need a change in leadership and in management. But they can keep on doing what they're doing right now, or they won't be able to fulfill their potential. Bellatrix as a gamer Espa. That makes sense. Jazzy J singing, I mean. Okay. Morning from hello. Um, I like I'll it sound said Brelin. Hi will have a new group in 4 more days. They will have a new group. Big Hit is training a new group. I think that's why Bang Shiyuk wanted to take over management over Espa. Could be over SM. Could be, yeah. Pinay Yonsei, I'm always surprised how big the NCT groups are in Korea. They're big in Korea. When I watched the Inkigayo summer concert, my God, that arena was shaking when NCT came out. They are big in Korea. Yeah, for sure. They are big in Korea.